The day I won the lottery changed my life forever. Not just because I got insanely rich overnight, but because I also learned I didn't have much time left to live. Hi, I'm Matt. Before I tell you the story of my life, don't forget to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell icon to show your support for me. I remember that day like it was yesterday. My dad and I were chilling by the lake, fishing and talking about the memories he had with Mom when I suddenly got a text. It was from my best friend, Emil. When I saw the photo he sent, I froze. I had just won $67 million on the lottery. 66. Son, what is it? Dad, I just won the lottery. $67 million. We jumped up and down and screamed and danced around like fools. It was pure happiness, knowing that I could finally pay off my dad's debts and the hospital bills that my mom left behind. It really changed everything. I was so happy. But then, I felt my legs go numb. I fell to the ground, and everything grew dark. I tried to get up, but my feet weren't responding. Soon, my thighs were numb too, and I could feel it like a creeping shadow. The numbness, the helplessness was creeping up from my feet. Son? Son, are you alright? Matt! Matt, talk to me! I can't move my legs! It was only a matter of time before I lost consciousness. I woke up in a hospital bed. On the same day I won the lottery, I also learned that I was about to die. The doctor who handled my case came up to me. She held my hand and spoke softly.
Matt, I'm sorry to have to tell you this. You have Guillain-Barré syndrome. We tried what we could, but unfortunately, it's only a matter of time until it paralyzes your whole body, before it creeps up to your lungs. When it does, you'll stop breathing.
My dad began to sob. What? How long does he have?
We don't have all the information right now, but it really depends how quickly it progresses. Could be 3 weeks, 3 months. If it rapidly progresses, could be 3 days. At the rate it's currently progressing, the most accurate timeline I can give you is 3 weeks. But I wanted to tell you that we're doing all that we can to help your son.
I cried. My dad cried. I must have cried harder that day than at my mom's funeral. I couldn't accept it. There I was, lottery winner, on the verge of changing me and my dad's life, and I had such a small amount of time left to spend it. My face appeared on major news channels that week. Happiest lottery winner in history, the headline said. What they didn't know was that I was crying so much in that photo because I'd just received the news about my illness. I threw a bunch of money at my problem. If I was gonna die soon, I wasn't gonna spend the rest of my days in a sad hospital. I hired doctors, nurses, physical therapists, and every other health professional I could to be with me 24/7. Whatever kind of care and equipment needed to help me regain my health, I bought. And I stuffed it all in the new mansion I bought for me and my dad. I basically had my own little hospital. My dad even hired the girl I had a crush on to be my personal assistant and maid. He told me, "Well, son, I know you like her, and if you're only gonna be here for a short time, I figured you'd like having her around." He was right. I did enjoy Denise's company. We even started dating. She felt sorry for me, and I guess, at some point, after spending so much time with me, she started to like me back. My first gift to her was a kiss and a diamond necklace. I went to theme parks, beaches, malls, clubs. If it was a place I could have fun in, I went there. All my staff and doctors in tow. Wherever I went, I had at least 30 people with me. Most of them, people who were there to keep me alive and monitor my health. I took my dad to Italy, the place where he and Mom always dreamed of going. And then I bought him a mansion of his own. I bought every single one of my friends a house. Emil hugged me and promised he'd support me every step of the way. He was such a great best friend. He was always there for me whenever I felt down. He even stayed over nights when Denise and my nurses needed an extra hand. On my second week, I was paralyzed from the waist down. It was around the 3rd week when I woke up in the middle of the night. I was breathing rapidly, and I could feel the numbness creeping faster than before. I felt it in my stomach. Then very, very menacingly, I began to feel my chest go numb. I screamed for help, and Emil was there before Denise. She came in just a second after him, and they screamed for the doctors. But when they got there was nothing they could do. All my doctor said to me was, "I'm sorry, Matt. At this rate, the illness is going to paralyze your lungs. You'll stop breathing." I felt nothing. At first, I felt nothing. And then, uncontrollable fear. All I said to my doctor was, "Okay." I don't know if my face began to feel numb either, but I barely noticed how much I was crying. Tears were streaming down my face. I was gonna die. That was it. And before I could even say goodbye to my new girlfriend and my best friend, everything went dark, and I stopped breathing. It was a few months later that I woke up again. I thought I was in heaven. My mom was right beside me, sleeping next to my bed. I had blinked again, and I realized I was looking at Denise. They really did look a lot alike. When I coughed, Emil was first to come to my side. He'd been there the whole time, waiting with my Denise. That made me so happy. Then my best friend and my girlfriend stayed with me. Dad was there too, and he was sobbing when he realized I'd woken up. The doctors were all amazed. They were all certain I wasn't going to recover. But somehow, I was still alive, and the illness was little by little fading away. Days and weeks passed with nothing but physical therapy and checkups and everything I needed to do to heal and get back to functioning again. I was determined. I wanted to marry Denise, and to do that, I wanted to be able to kneel in front of her and give her a ring that I physically bought. That was what kept me going. That and the support of my dad and my friends, all of whom visit me every day. Emil never left my side either. I told myself he was the only choice as my best man. I trusted him, and he never disappointed me. Until I found out that on the same day I went into a coma, he had stolen Denise from me. I heard it from one of the nurses when they thought I was sleeping. Apparently, the two would sneak out when nobody was looking. They would go on dates and make out when they thought nobody could see them. Even my dad was oblivious to what was happening. He was such a nice guy that he never suspected them. I cried about it, yeah, but I never blamed them. And I was never mad about it. How could I be? I was dying, and Denise probably had a hard time. Emil, too. I didn't blame them. Until one day, when both of them were in the room, I pretended to be asleep and heard them scheming.
What if he asked me to marry him?
So what?
What do you mean, so what? I'm not gonna marry some pimply cripple.
It's only for a little while. Think about it. He's gonna die soon. And when he does, where do you think all that money will go?
To his dad? No, stupid. To his wife. To his future wife. To you.
So, I made sure everything was in order. I didn't wait for my legs to get better. I ordered the most expensive ring I could find. I hired florists, musicians, the whole 9 yards. And I wasn't secretive about it either. I wanted them to think something big was up. So that was when I called for Denise to come see me in a room that was decorated and walls lined with flowers. She would think that was the moment I was going to ask her to marry me. I had my dad and Emil stand by my side. I even had all my staff and doctors there. I wanted them all to see. Dad helped me kneel in front of Denise. She was so convincing when she was acting like it was all a surprise. Denise, you were the love of my life. Will you? I opened the velvet box and showed her the diamond ring. Denise almost fainted at the sight of it and shouted, "Yes!" before I could even finish my sentence. Will you and Emil get as far away from me as possible? The color on Denise and Emil's face drained. That same day I threw them out of my house. I even took back the house I got for Emil. And I took out a restraining order against both of them. Once again, my story broke the news. And because of it and the videos my nurses took of what happened, I was instantly famous. Women from everywhere lined up outside of our house, wanting to be my wife and saying I should give the ring to them instead. There were 11 ladies who actually got in touch with my dad. They were a group of CEOs, rich, young ladies who were successful, and they vowed they would take care of me in any way. At first, they pitied me in my tragedy. But then, somehow, they all fell in love. And I fell in love with them. They became my sugar mamas. They flew in the best doctors in the world and bought the property next to mine so they could be close to me at all times. They hired even more nurses and therapists to make sure I had 24/7 care. I still had a bunch of money from the lottery, but I never even had to spend a dime of it after that, because my 11 sugar mamas paid for everything. It's still gonna be a while until I fully heal, but with 11 ladies catering to my every wish, I think I have a really good shot.